Greetings, I'm Reverend John O'Toole, and I'm inviting you to the FaerySpeak, or the FaerySpeak for you. This is episode number 32. You can believe it. My birthday was on Saturday. I had a great day with my daughter and went out to lunch at this great restaurant over in, well, it used to be in Williamsburg, but now it's in Haydenville. I don't know if it makes any difference or not. I kind of think they're the same town. But it's the Williamsburg Snack Shack. They have the best fried clams this side of 91. I know there used to be a place over in Lanesboro, but they're kind of seasonal. This place gets them all through the winter, every Saturday. So they get them in on Saturday, and they're available, until they're gone. And they have a really good clam chowder. A lot of other great food there too. You don't have to eat fried clams, but just sharing, a shameless plug. We've been very happy going there, and you can even do takeout. That's what we were doing during the shutdown. Of course, they were doing takeout, eating in the car. You get to benefit the energy of my birthday, and yeah, pretty cool. I apologize. I had the air conditioner running, and I know I'm either complaining about the heat or I'm complaining about the air conditioner. Neither one of them I wish to turn off. I ask you this question every time, but for those who are new, have you met your fairy? Most people have a fairy. Sometimes it's a fairy from childhood. Maybe it's somebody you just met. But if you think about it in your mind's eye, maybe if you're sitting outside enjoying the beautiful weather in a nature setting, particularly in a nature setting, not necessarily surrounded by concrete, you might notice that there's someone there with you. Maybe if you're hanging out in the side of your vision, maybe you know exactly who I'm talking about. So in this particular deck, it gives you a card for you to draw your fairy on. So if you have this fairy, this is the Fairy Oracle by Brian Fraud. You can draw it on this card. But there's nothing meaning you can't draw it just on a piece of paper. I wouldn't use a computer to draw it. I wouldn't search the internet for fairies looking for the one that meets your eye. I would draw it yourself with your own abilities. And to picture it in your third eye and project it onto a piece of paper and use a pencil or a pen or a crayon and you'll draw your fairy. Now, why is that important? I don't know if it's important or not. It's kind of a cool thing to know that there's a fairy friend out there, accompanying you, learning from you. It's kind of a cool thing. So in the meantime, while we're here, I am shuffling up some cards. Now for those also that are new here, there I shuffled up some cards. I guess I wouldn't do well in a casino as a dealer. I have a cheat sheet here that I've gone through the book and created a impulse of energies from the different meanings of the cards, and then I kind of read the energy that I am interpreting at the time from the fairy energy that we're doing. So I am going to pull out, we're going to start going right now is 6 cards. And we will see what you guys wish to talk about today. Oddly enough, these shows are kind of expansive. So you could go back to FaerySpeak episode 2 and probably get something off of that episode just as much as getting one off of this one. Though I have noticed that since we started doing these once a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever works out, that there is a progression of the energy, but it's not necessarily inclusive. The cool thing about metaphysics is that there are no restrictions or limitations. It's an expansive, exponential creativity. So we are going to pick out 6 cards. I'm going to do this one. And what do you think about, well, I was going to do this one, but I think I'm going to take the one below it. I don't know why. And we're going to do this one. And I think this, oh, that one. We'll keep that one back in the deck. That's 4. That's 5. And I'm going to choose this one as 6. There we go. Now, shall we start with this one? I don't know why we want to start with this one. We're going to start with this one. Gloomiest Loom or Doom, number 56. Gloomiest Doom. Remember that FedEx commercial 10 years or so ago? They'd go, package doesn't arrive on time and we're doomed. Yeah. Gloomiest Doom. Interesting card. Gloomiest Doom. But this card was in reverse, like so, to you. Kind of looks like there's another fairy there. Do you see the eyeball? Right here. Kind of interesting, but I'm going to put it in the thing here so you can look at it. Gloomiest Doom. Self-defeat, self-pity, self-destruction. Taking care of ourselves. But this one was in reverse. Sunk in self-pity is having a delirious effect on the situation. Well, that sure is an odd card to start with. I don't think that I've been in particularly self-pity. I've been having a pretty darn good weekend. Anything comes to mind to you? You don't have to share it. That's the beauty of TV. You don't have to share if you don't wish to. What should we pick next? Shall we pick the first card? Let's try the first card. Another reverse card. Very pretty card. You know why? Because I like pretty cards. But this one was in reverse. How does that look? Anything unique there popping out? Nels the Alchemist. Inner transformation, irrevocable change, which is actually very similar to the last card we chose. But this one also was in reverse. You may be getting into Nell's way of her doing her work. Inner transformation. Sounds kind of like a singer card, doesn't it? Inner transformation. I guess if you're sunk in self-pity, you won't be allowing yourself to have personal growth. Honesty. This one's number 40, honesty. This card was vertical, which is interesting in itself. Honesty, compassion, and tact. If this card was in reverse, are we truly honest with ourselves? Honesty, compassion, and tact. Most curious, how does that combine with the other two cards? Reducing our transformation. In order to transform, maybe I should have another sip of the brew. That you have to be honest with yourself, more so than other people. Your personal process is your personal process. You don't necessarily have to share it with the world. Just saying. I'm just going to go with this one. So this is a singer card. The Singer of Intuition. Well, that is interesting, isn't it? Singer of Intuition. Look at that. And I think that the singer cards are related to our chakra systems. Singer of Intuition. Perception, perceptiveness, oracle powers, awareness, and trust. Now, if this card was in reverse, it would be, how can you learn to be quiet within yourself, more peaceful? How can you listen better to the song of knowledge and wisdom? But this card was a vertical card. It was a vertical card, wasn't it? Now I'm confused. Perceptionness, oracle powers, awareness, and trust, which leads you to believe the first two cards or more about transformation among yourself into something beyond what you're perceiving you think that you're going. Not wish to go, but think you're going. Often we think we're stagnated. Coming out of Memorial Day weekend, for many of us, was kind of a strange weekend because we're just opening up. And so many of us have a sigh of relief. Perceptionness, oracle powers, awareness, and trust in ourselves, in the growth of ourselves. I'm going to do this one next. It's another singer card, but this one's in reverse. That's that one there. Kind of looks like a deer with its antlers. But this one was in reverse. Now this card actually was the last card, but I decided to pull it this time, which is kind of interesting. Why did I decide that we would pull it this time? I don't know. I'm a very complex guy. Union, spiritual home. Now, if this was in reverse, it'd be overly focused, alienated, unwanted, and lonely. But as you can see, we are not lonely, unfocused, and alienated. We have a sense of home. And it's probably because of the energy around Memorial Day. Looking back at our loved ones, particularly those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and our existence. I've always lived in the United States. I don't know what it's like to live someplace that's in oppression. And frankly, I don't think I ever want to really know how it is. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Number 52. Or 32. I think it's 32. Iris of the Rainbow. This is one of my favorites. Can't imagine why. But it is. But this one was in reverse, which is interesting, because this was going to be the second in the card before last. Iris of the Rainbow. Hope, promise for the future. But this was in reverse. It's hope, prayer, and faith may be needed. Well, that's interesting. On one hand, we have central home, and on the other hand, faith may be needed to move forward. But all these cards are really about moving forward and transformation. What do you wish to transfer into? Outside my kitchen window, it's facing east. I have this bush out there, and it's an amazing bush. It's got these little flowers, little pink flowers on it. I would actually like to know what it is so I can plant another one. Came with the house. but it has bees, it has butterflies, and it kind of blooms most of the summer. It's a very pretty bush. Why did I bring that up? Because I was thinking of butterflies transforming from moths, although, what were they? I guess they would have to hatch over the winter. I think there's a TMI in there somewhere. I think there's definitely a TMI. The first one was number 56. Glominous Doom. Doom! I'd always say that with the word doom. Glominous Doom. Sunk in self-pity and having a delirious effect on the situation. Number 27. Nell the Alchemist. Creative expression is blocked. You may be working too hard. So these cards are all about transformation. So we have our spiritual home, which is wonderful. Our spirit, we're being centered, we're being connected to Gaia, which is fantastic. But we wish to become more. And as we wish to become more, we've got to clear out that negative ego that's preventing us from moving forward. Now here it's referred to as self-pity. Has a delirious effect on, it's self-pity. But it's also, I think self-pity is a little negative for our situation at the moment. And I think it's more about negative ego telling you lies to keep you from moving forward. Your negative ego is a part of self from your child. And from a wounding or betrayal of your child will affect you in your adulthood to prevent you from moving forward because the child is still afraid of being hurt or betrayed. So your negative ego will lie to you and tell you that something is not right, that this isn't a good situation, because the negative ego is afraid to move forward. I wish you to think about what we've talked about what is it that's holding you back. And often it's an experience from your childhood experiences, a betrayal, a hurt, something that isn't real now. I could tell you a story, but I don't think we have time. A quick story. Back when I was this is good because this has been happening lately, about UFOs. And hopefully I can squeeze it into the 28 minutes if I don't keep talking about 28 minutes. It's back when I was around 9 or 10. My aunts and my brothers and sisters, they all went out for a walk at night. I chose to stay home. I don't know why I didn't stay home, go with them. I stayed home. So I was watching out my window. And out my window, I saw this long, thin, cigar-shaped thing with lots of lights on it up in the sky. Now they saw it too. But I was always mystified by that experience. I felt like I possibly had some kind of encounter. For years, I had that feeling. And I had that fear that it was related to a possible abduction or something like that. And of course, I had a fascination for UFOs and all those experiences and watching all the movies and blah, blah, blah. And about a year ago or so, I realized that it had to do with a trauma of abuse by one of my adult caretakers. And I'll leave it at that. There was no abduction. The sighting of the UFO was real, but all that negative ego energy that was connected to that wasn't real. But my negative ego kept that perpetuating for 55 years or so. So you can hold on to stuff for a very long time, and until you look at it with your brain and see it as it really is and realize that that does not exist anymore, you can move past it. So until next time, the fairy speaks for you and you and you and you and me. And until next time, hug a fairy. The fairy is speaking for you. Ta-ta.